Hello. Oh, sorry. Hello, friends. How are you? And welcome to the live show of the Sibs Book Club for the book A Sorceress Comes to Call by T. Kingfisher. How are you doing in this lovely Sunday afternoon? We were just here yesterday for this month's book club. I hope your readings are doing well. This month we are reading Midnight at Beacon Street. Um, we are just going to be discussing A Sorceress Comes to Call today, and there might be spoilers. So let me just put spoilers banner because why not? So let's see. I don't know. What should I do? Should I initiate by a very brief, like, description of what the book is about?
Yep.
Let me see if I know how to describe this book because this was an interesting read. So, A Sorceress Comes to Call is a book by T. Kingfisher, as I've said before, and we are basically following this mother and daughter. They live together, and the mother is very, very, very controlling of what her daughter does, what she says, and how she behaves, to the point that they do not have doors inside of their house. Also, the mother fun thing is a sorceress, which I found it very funny. They had very different ideas what a sorceress could do and can't. So I found that very interesting. This mother, she just wants power. So she does everything to marry a wealthy, powerful man, even unaliving people just because. So basically, the book, I don't know, this is a very, very, very small description of the book. I don't know. Do you want to add anything else, Laura?
No, I think that was pretty much what I would describe, because it's kind of hard, isn't it, without making it too spoilery. But I mean, I know we've got the spoiler banner on, but still, just in case. Oh, I want to mention the white horse.
Oh, yeah.
Because there's a white horse in it.
That is,
very interesting.
That we discover later that is a familiar for the sorceress, which is an interesting part. But today I'm going to be the one leading this discussion, which is fun because I never know what to ask. But my first question is going to be, what did you rate the book?
Okay. I actually, do you know what? I can't remember. I think I rated it 5. Let me just double check.
I think you told me that you rated it 5.
Yeah, I feel like I did. If it wasn't, it was a really high 4 stars.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I didn't rate it on Goodreads or Storygraph, apparently. Maybe I was waiting for the discussion to happen and then I could. But yeah, I think I'm rating it 5 stars.
Well, guess what? I also did not rate it.
I do really enjoy T. Kingfisher, though, as an author generally. But I think this might be one of my favourites from this author so far that I've read.
Nice. This was my first experience with this author, and I can tell you that it was a very pleasant experience. I enjoyed it, although I want to dissect the book a lot more than maybe what I did, and I think I would have taken more time with it than what I actually did. But I think in the end I set it up in a 4 stars, which I think it's quite nice. Because I started the book without knowing what it was or what we are going to be dealing with. So
Yeah.
I think the 4 stars are quite nice. Um, the next thing that I want to know is what were your initial thoughts on the book? Like, what did you think when you started to read the book on how the story was set up, especially with Cordelia's mother? So her name was
Mm.
Evangeline, right?
Yeah.
Or something like that. Because we know from the beginning that she's very controlling.
Mm.
So, what were your thoughts on that one?
Well, I really like my initial thoughts were this is a T Kingfisher book. Like T Kingfisher has a very specific way of setting up a
Okay.
story, and um, it was nice because it felt very familiar, very comfortable. But yeah, it was a completely different world, a completely different set of characters. It's a completely different plot. Um, like initially, I was very um, what's the word? Like comforted,
Mm,
but intrigued at the same time. Like straight away, um,
okay.
which I don't always get with books. I
That's
sometimes
nice.
take a little while to warm up. I think because I'm normally quite a character driven person. Um, it takes me a while. I need to get to know the characters before I can like really connect with them. But
Hmm.
um, I felt quite connected straight away to what's the daughter's name again?
Cordelia?
Cordelia, yeah. And I really loved the I think because my favorite character in Cassandra Clare's books is
Oh,
Cordelia.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
I like
Cordelia
I
Canstress.
it could have gone the other way and it could have ruined it for me, but I think because I had that imagery in my head,
Yeah.
it's all transferred over a little bit and almost felt like an extension of that, which is weird because it's not. But
Yeah. I do
you
understand.
know, yeah, fine.
So, for me, I was very much intrigued. I
Mm,
don't think I did fully understand from the beginning that they were setting up to something as, let's say, dark. Dark is not
mm,
the right word, but almost the right
mhm,
word. It was quite dark, honestly, and I was not expecting it. I think I hoped it was going to be something lighter. Although I
mhm.
was also expecting that thriller. I have a cat. There's,
Apollo.
yeah, that thrillery vibes to
Yeah.
happen because I knew there were going to be deaths in it, you know.
Mm,
But I honestly was not expecting it to develop the way that it did. I never thought that we would have ended up with like the nobles and all of that. I find it very interesting when they went to like just marry her off, you know.
yeah.
Um, this also leads me to my other question: was what do you think of Evangeline making Cordelia obedient and like people that didn't go according to her plans or the way that she wanted to? Oh my god, I have
Um,
to open the window for Apollo. I'm so sorry.
it's all
Or we
right.
will hear him meow until tomorrow. Nice. He went away. Not that I want him to went away, but I'm back.
Mm, yeah.
So, do you want me to tell the question again?
Yeah, why not?
Okay. So my next question was, what were your thoughts on Evangeline using her powers to
Mm,
make Cordelia obedient? So
mm,
this means not only Cordelia, but anyone that basically stepped in her path. and did not do what you wanted or liked or whatever.
I think because I have read other T. Kingfisher books, I know that like she likes to show that ultimate power corrupts ultimately, or whatever
Okay.
the saying is. I definitely didn't get that saying correctly, but I think you understand what I'm trying to say. Like, there nearly always is a character around that kind of gives into the law of power kind of thing.
Okay.
So, I mean, obviously it was horrible in terms of like, you don't, like, if that was a real life thing, like it would be awful, terrible.
Yeah.
But I really enjoyed reading that Evangeline as a character, because she really just didn't care. She just didn't care
No,
about anything other
she
than
didn't.
what her goals were. And I think, like she didn't. It was interesting because she would make Cordelia feel like she was being a bad daughter and things like that, without having any sort of. Cordelia was a bad daughter if she didn't play along, but
Yeah.
ultimately Evangeline was never in the wrong,
Just
according to
before
Evangeline.
just before you keep going, I just want to let you know what I thought that she was doing to make her obedient. I honestly thought in the beginning, when I first read, like, my mom makes me obedient or something like that, the way that she says, I honestly thought that it was SA, that the
Right.
mother was abusing her. Just fully on the way. This is my first Kingfisher book. I did not know that she liked that power type of um,
Yeah.
narrative, you know. And honestly, the way that it was being set it up, without the doors, without this, without the secrets and all of that, I was like, no.
Yeah.
I truly was like, no, this can't be it. And it took me quite a while for me to understand that basically Evangeline was just using her powers
Yeah.
to
To
step into
compel.
to compel them and step into their
Mm.
bodies. Yeah, it wasn't interesting for me.
Yeah, I can see that actually, because I think actually for people that have read a few T. Kingfisher books, I think, or all of them even, they probably miss out on that aspect, because like I definitely did, because I knew straight away, like obviously the title is A Sorceress Comes to Call, and I knew that we wouldn't find out who the sorceress is straight away. And I like I don't know, like it was obvious, but it wasn't obvious, but only
Yeah,
because I've read other T. Kingfisher books, if that makes sense.
I
I could
think
see
once
what was happening,
I
and
think
we
there
were
was a
being set
point.
up to decide who the sorcerer was, whether it was Evangeline or Cordelia.
I think I've like understood from not from the beginning, but from early on that the sorceress was Evangeline. Although by the end, I do think that Cordelia might have some type of powers, like those little sorceress things that
Yeah,
they think in the book that sorcerers do. Um, but definitely, the all obedient making was very,
yeah. What is it? Is
you
it
know,
that Evangeline is an abuser, or is she a
yeah,
sorceress and using her powers? Well, I think the answer is both, but like it is very misleading. Like it's like you say, it could, at first it's only described as if it's abuse rather than
it looks like,
anything
just
else.
from the beginning, it looks like abuse, and I think
Mm.
that was what made
And it
me.
is,
It is, no matter
realistically.
what, it is abuse, exactly.
Yeah.
And I think that was what made me dislike Evangeline's character, although
Mm.
understand her motives. But to me, the book didn't fully explain to me what Evangeline wanted, you know?
Okay.
And this might have been because I did read the book a little bit too quickly for me to
Right.
fully understand it. Maybe if you, in the background, so we don't do many spoilers, you can
Mm.
explain it to me. But from what I understand, Evangeline just wanted power overall, right?
Yeah, I would agree with that.
She just wanted to be powerful
Power and
no matter
control.
what. Power and control, exactly.
Yeah.
But my question is actually doing my next one is just to do with Cordelia and her
Mm.
mom making her obedient. Do you think that this helped Cordelia develop her overly shy character?
100%. Yeah, because she didn't know, like, realistically, it's like when they went to live in the house of the man that they want, that, not Cordelia, Evangeline wants to marry. um like, straight away, the sister notices Cordelia's reactions and fear of having a voice.
Yeah,
um and she notices it straight away, which was, I thought, a really cool thing to do, because this is clearly sort of set in a time where abuse wasn't seen as a real thing, and the effects of that,
yeah.
especially on females. um I really liked the sister's character uh,
Hmm.
a lot, because she was the antagonist in everything, in terms of, but she was very clever with it. And I think, like, her noticing Cordelia's sort of traits that she'd learned from her experience of being an abused child, effectively, and therefore it's that coming across, oh, she's just shy, but actually there's a difference between shy and abused.
Yeah,
um
and I think that um, that lady, I don't remember her name also. Let me see if
mm,
the back blurb says Hester.
yeah.
Hester. I think she was able to see that Cordelia was indeed being abused quite early on, especially from the moments that they were not with her mom, and
mm,
Cordelia was quite extroverted in some way.
yeah. And
Not
obviously it's hard to know if she would have been that introverted anyway,
Mhm.
without the abuse, but
Yeah,
it was
because
definitely a factor.
yeah, I do agree on that. I do
Mm,
think that the abuse that Evangeline's put Cordelia through, I think it was very much what made her character being so closed off, because she
mm,
was always so afraid of, if she said the wrong thing, what is my mom going to
mm,
say? What is my mom going to do to me?
yeah,
Like Cordelia was every so afraid. Especially we can also see that when she is so emotional about having doors,
yeah,
like, and how she says like, oh, I don't have to worry because there are four doors between me and my mom, you
yeah,
know. And from the moment on where she hears a mom outside of her door, you know,
mm,
and her not her waitress, but
mm.
her
Oh, her,
a
like,
lady.
her maid, lady's
Yeah,
maid.
like lady's maid,
Mm,
she knew something was wrong, and she
yeah.
knew that Cordelia did not feel comfortable being with her mom, which honestly, to me, it's heartbroken because I do
Mm,
have like a close relationship with my mom,
Mm,
and I I don't know how Cordelia even thought that her mom loved her doing
mm,
all of those things that she did, because her mom to me was just basically using her. And
yeah.
the only person that she ever loved maybe was
Mm,
Cordelia's father, but we don't know what really fully happened to him,
mm,
right? If I'm not wrong.
yeah. No, it's kind of left a little bit. She's been told a certain story, but she clearly doesn't know she believes that story.
Yeah. So that is what I think interesting. This
Mm.
leads me to the next question that is also related. What did you think of Evangeline's character?
I
We have touched it a little bit here and
yeah.
there, but I want to fully know your thoughts, like as deep as you want to go.
Mm. Okay, well, I really I know this isn't probably going to go down very well with a lot of people, but I really liked Evangeline. But I didn't like her as in I thought she was a good person. I liked that you got to explore like the darker side of humanity, I guess. Like
Hmm.
if you had that power, can you really say 100% that you wouldn't be corrupted by it? You know?
Yeah,
And like I like characters like that because it reminds me, like you can't
society.
nobody can know what they would do given that power. You
Yeah,
know what you think you would do, you know what you would like to do without that, have it going from not having that power to having that power. But realistically, Evangeline clearly had that power her whole life, so she didn't know what it was like to
not
be
having it.
anything else
Yeah.
other than that.
Hmm.
And why would you stop to think about your effects on other people?
Especially since she never knew anything
Yeah,
else, I
yeah.
think.
Like I feel like she was too far in to the power aspect of it to really have any awareness of like if it's a good thing or a bad thing, or to even care. Like to go to that point of just not caring at all is just, I don't know, like it reminds I know it sounds stupid, but in real life it reminds me like that's why I try hard to limit my to change
Hmm.
parts of myself that I don't like, or
Mm.
react differently in situations to how I want to, because ultimately it's like I mean I don't think I'd be as bad as Evangeline, but I definitely wouldn't. I don't think I would be as that bad, but
I don't
I
think
don't know.
anyone would
I don't
be
know.
like
See what I mean?
Evangeline. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't want to admit
Like,
it, but I probably would be like Evangeline.
for me, I found the character interesting. Not that
Mm,
I loved her,
yeah.
but I found it interesting to, in some sort of way, see how power affected her and how much she just wanted power because she never knew anything else besides being able to control people.
Mm,
And you can see it on how, even though they don't have much, she basically just creates a lie like, oh, we are very rich and this and that, but our carriage broke, you know,
yeah.
which is misleading of what is
Mhm.
actually happening.
Yeah.
And that I do blame on wanting the power, you know,
Yeah.
and
Yeah. She had to explain why they were, she had to have a way of being um like
viewed
good enough
as,
to be married, but not to be able to explain away why she doesn't have the things that it takes to be in that
yeah,
um oh what do you
and
call
why
it?
she isn't.
Yeah. class. It's a class system. It's based on a class
Yeah,
system. Upper
yeah.
class, working class, that
And
kind of thing.
I found it very interesting, all of that. I think it was very well developed, definitely. I think Kingfisher had a very nice way into developing Evangeline's character, to the point that I really do think that it was so well done that you at some times were like, but I do know you. Why am I like not enjoying
Why do
you?
I still want to know what you're doing?
Yeah,
I hate
exactly.
you.
Exactly. I hate you, but why do I still want to know what you are doing? You know, let me just say hello to Miss Blogger. How are you? Welcome. Um, I don't know. Do you have anything else that you want to discuss about Evangeline? Oh, before I go on to the familiar, the
Hmm.
horse. Uh, Falenda? No, I don't remember the name of the horse.
I can't
Let's
remember
see.
the name of the horse either.
Um,
Falada.
Falada. Okay.
Yeah, so it was
Um,
it was
Similar. It
pretty
was
much what you
similar.
said, yeah.
Yeah. My question is, what did you think of the two point of views that we had? Like, do you think there were nice point of views, or do
Mm.
you wish you had, for example, an Evangeline at some point of view? Or do you think, for example, do you understand my question?
Yeah. Like, am I like how do I feel about how many points of view we got from
It's
the book?
it's more like, do you liked it being Hester and Cordelia, or do you wanted them to be someone else's?
I thought it was interesting the choice that it was Hester and Cordelia, but I would have quite liked to have. I know it sounds a bit mad to have,
Mhm.
although saying that, there's other books that have got loads of POVs, but I would have quite liked to have had 5 POVs in this. But then I guess it would have been a longer book. But
Yeah.
I would have quite liked to have Evangeline's, but just in certain moments, not all of the time. Um, and the same with the guy that she's trying to marry. I would have liked to have had his point of view. Again, not the whole way through, but like little snippets here and there. And
Mhm.
and then the third one that I would have added would have been the horse.
Oh, interesting.
Just because
Yeah.
obviously it's, there's this whole like Cordelia thought that the horse was on her side for so long,
Mhm.
and then it seemed like, and then it seemed to flip, and then it was an evil horse, but was it really evil because Evangeline was making it do these things? Like, how much of I would have liked to have known how much was
The his
control
thoughts
and how
flood
much,
us.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like the two point of views. I did find them very interesting to read due to the
Mm.
fact that I think they were the right people. I would
Yeah.
have liked to had like at least one or two chapters with Evangeline's point of views, just so we could like better understand
Discover.
what was happening on her mind,
Yeah.
or even like you were saying, the horses, just like as a, for example, when they were trying to unalive him, I think that would
Mm.
have been interesting, like to know what he was thinking,
Yeah.
or even after that, like when he was able to escape the stables or anything
Mm.
like that. I think
Oh
that
my
would have
gosh.
been interesting. We actually ended up guiding ourselves into my next question is,
Mm.
what are your thoughts on this complex character that is the familiar or Falada? So I want your thoughts on him betraying Cordelia, his complexity, because
Mm.
Evangeline explains that he's built in like onion layers, some sort
Yeah.
at one point. So what do you think of it? And what it actually was, because at some point we do have like an image of what it looks like. Like
Mm.
I picture him as a type of octopus.
I did as well, actually. That's funny. That's funny. I like that. Yeah, I think if I had to pick a best character, it would be that one, for the simple fact that it really was like, it took you on such a journey, and I really didn't see it coming. That moment that Cordelia finds out that he's her mum's familiar and everything. But
Mhm.
that was like, I was as shocked as Cordelia in that moment. Like, I didn't see it coming at all. And
I
I
was
don't know.
definitely.
I really like. Yeah, I think there's it's that onion layer thing is like the perfect description, realistically, in my opinion, because I mean, I know she was using that as like to explain how the familiar was made.
Yeah, and how
Um,
they wouldn't be able to unalive him, because
yeah,
in the end, for him to go, she also had to go, you know?
yeah,
So it was interesting. I think I also did not see it coming with him, oh, sorry, with Falada
yeah,
betraying Cordelia. I think when I discovered it, I was like, what a jerk.
yeah,
Especially since we also discovered at the same time that he told Evangeline everything. And I am afraid that she left Cordelia's friend, Ellen, if I'm not wrong,
mm,
to leave just knowing that, just to suffer, you know.
yeah. And we don't find out. Oh no, we did find out. We did find out if if the friend survived.
I think she did. I
We
think
find
she did.
Yeah. Yeah, it was
But
right near the end, wasn't it, that we found out.
I
But
think it was.
I was
But I
just, there
think
were
it,
so many times like before we found out, I was like, but is she okay?
yeah,
We just need to know.
yeah. And I think it was interesting, like, because then when we know that Falada tells Evangeline everything, you are
Mm,
going like, did Evangeline kill them all just because her,
yeah.
the youngest daughter, was friends with Cordelia and she didn't
Mm,
want Cordelia to have any ideas besides the
yeah.
ones that she
Or
was,
anyone to escape to.
or exactly, or anyone to escape to, which is interesting because if then she wants to marry on into a family that
Mm,
hopefully accepts Cordelia, you know, it might happen what happened. Like
yeah.
she gets her, people understand and see how Cordelia is. They start questioning, they start analyzing, and then at the end, they start to think something is wrong with this kid. Especially,
Mm,
I did not like that Cordelia was 13 years old and her mom was making her pass for at least 17.
yeah.
And everyone was like, are you sure she's.
Yeah. You look so young. Like,
Yeah, and just because her mom said you have to say them that you are 17, you have to go on
yeah, because
with
she
that.
wanted to marry her off as well, didn't she? So
Yeah,
you had to be like old enough to marry off.
yeah,
That was the ultimate plan, wasn't it? But at the end of the day, that was her biggest downfall, was having that. If she wanted to keep control, she needed to actually keep control and stay in that insular, like before they moved to that house.
yeah. I
You
think
know,
that was
that was the only
Mhm.
way she was going to keep that control.
Yep. I think it was her downfall when
Mm.
she let Cordelia hang out with Hester and all of her friends and all of
Yeah,
that. That is
and the
when,
lady's maid, and
yeah,
having to
that is.
obviously not have the rule about the doors being shut as well, because she couldn't
Mhm.
do that without it looking weird. There was no way that she could come up with a lie that would cover why Cordelia can't be away from her, or why Cordelia had to have doors open, you know?
Yeah. This makes me go to the end of the book, like
Yeah.
now. What did you think when you saw that doing what they did to the familiar would solve Evangeline's problem? That she would be weakened, let's say it like that. Or did you
Mm.
think that the ultimate solution was what in the end happened? I just don't want to spoil it very much in here.
Yeah. Um, I don't know. I think I knew that it wasn't going to be as straightforward as that.
Yeah,
And I wouldn't have wanted it to be either, to be fair. Like, I'm glad that it wasn't as straightforward as that, because I'd have been left like, oh, okay, that's it,
yeah.
you know?
Hmm.
Um, so I
I
was
do
glad
agree.
that it wasn't. I'm glad that it went the way that it went. Um, but yeah, it was, I mean, yeah, I think it was well done, basically.
Yeah, and I think it was interesting. Um, One of the things that I really enjoyed was them making connections with the magic and
Mm,
understanding at some point that someone relates to salt, someone relates to water, and someone relates to wine, and that is why their first attempt did not was not
mm,
successful because they did not have the correct people, you know.
yeah.
And I think it was very interesting how that those symbols that are so big at that time, especially not at that time, but at the time that nobles and the divisions by classes were inputted in society, wine was one of the biggest like
Mm,
things, you know, and then you had salt and water. And I just think it was so clever. I think it was really well made, really well thought, and I really enjoyed that part.
mm. Yeah, me
Just
too.
yeah.
Me too. For such a short book, actually, it packed a punch, didn't it, really? I
Yeah,
mean,
I think
it's
it
not that short, but it's not a long book
com-
either.
comparing it to Inkblood Sister Scribe, which we have read before. I
Mm,
think these, although there are some holes in story that I wish we could know the answers for, you
yeah,
know, I also do think that I'm happy with how this ended. Where in Inkblood Sister Scribe, I wanted more. I
yeah,
wanted more story, or at least the story more developed than
yeah,
what it was. But I think that is also, this is not T. Kingfisher's first book, and I
no,
think Ink Blood Sister Scribe was the author's first book. So T. Kingfisher knows what she's doing. She only
yeah,
inputted here the important information, while
mm,
in the other book, although very interesting also, I love the magic system in that one,
yeah.
we did have a
There
lot
was a
of
lot of fluff.
information exactly that was not needed. And I
Mm,
think I just have one more question.
mm,
I did try to be as brief as possible. I'm so sorry. If you have any questions, let me know.
mm.
You as well, Laura.
Okay.
But what do you think of the way people viewed sorceresses versus how Evangeline actually was?
I thought it was really interesting, that division between sorceress and witch as well. Like,
Mhm.
was really interesting how one was seen as like almost desirable, and the other one was seen as um like undesirable, but the desirable one was the one that was most feared, and that was
Yeah.
obviously Evangeline. And for obvious reason, like, I feel like Evangeline was the reason why people were scared of sorceresses, because um uh, she's terrifying.
She is. She is something else, honestly.
Mm,
And I think she made the book interesting. And in the end, I was happy with the ending.
yeah,
I and I liked the ending for Cordelia. What did you
Yeah.
think of that?
I did as well. I liked it. I think because I think I knew it wasn't going to be a series. I would have been so disappointed if it hadn't been wrapped up. Like, whether it was good or bad, I needed it to be wrapped up because there's no more.
Yeah,
There's
I
nothing to
think
look
that
forward to.
ending, to me, the ending was wholesome. I
Yeah.
think what the guy that her mom was going to marry did,
Mm,
I think like taking care of Cordelia just because of what happened to her mom
yeah.
and all of that, I think it was sweet actually.
Yeah.
And in the
Definitely.
middle of so many deaths, so many chaos, I think he was
Sorry.
nice. It's okay. I think it was a nice touch that T. Kingfisher did there in the end.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. I would like to compare it actually to A House with Good Bones by T. Kingfisher as well.
Don't worry about the
Um,
sound.
yeah. Um, just because that was one of the T. Kingfisher books, I loved it all the way through until the end, and I was
Oh,
dissatisfied with the end
oh no.
because it was left ambiguous. And like, I'm not saying ambiguous is bad,
Mm-hmm.
um, but it didn't work for me in that instance. And I think I
Okay.
would have been exactly the same if this had been left ambiguous as well.
I think
Um,
the ending for this one was quite satisfactory.
yeah, 100%. I
It was nice.
really liked that. I liked that it was a good ending as well because like it made going through all the sort of the horror aspects, the dark aspects worth going through because there was a light at the end of it, you know.
Yeah, I think it definitely wrapped up things nicely, and I think I enjoyed the book. That ending, I was not expecting it to end that way. I Oh, you are muted, by the way.
Yeah, I muted because stuff's happening.
Don't worry.
Um, but yeah, he
Uh,
waved back,
oh,
but you
thank
couldn't
you.
see.
I think it was a nice wrap up. I think the
Yeah,
way that it ended, I think it gave such a not sad but dark. I think dark is the best because the story itself it was not sad. It could be sad at some points, but
yeah,
in general it was not sad,
yeah,
let's say it like that. But in general, I think it wrapped up things in a way that you feel like I'm satisfied with this. I am
yeah,
happy that we know that this ended this way.
yeah, definitely, definitely. I like they like another saying, the stars brine shyest in the darkest part of the night, and I feel like that sort of
Yeah,
encompasses this. Like you needed the dark aspects in order to see the brightness of the good bits, you know.
yeah, definitely. I
Um,
think I think Cordelia definitely her eyes were open. She
mm,
understood that what her mom was doing was not
yeah,
correct, and in
yeah,
the end, she was is now better. Hopefully,
yeah. Yeah, well, definitely. Like, I feel like she not just, I mean, I think she always knew what her mum was doing was wrong, but like she didn't know she had a choice in it.
yeah, I
Um,
think that was the worst part. That,
yeah,
but if even if she had a choice, where would she go? She didn't have
yeah,
anyone. She didn't have a father because her father died. She didn't have grandparents because they are not
for
talked
whatever
about.
reason. Yeah,
Yeah, like people that might have helped her, they weren't. Her mom killed them. Let's be
yeah,
honest, right? And her mom only just did not kill that family because her mom was marrying it. marrying into it. So I
Yeah.
think that's what made that family not, or at least let's say Hester and more of her friends, because that was an interesting death out of the book.
Yeah,
That was
definitely.
a funny one. But
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. I think it was a pleasant experience. If you do ask me, am I going to keep reading T. Kingfisher? I might in the future. I don't think I'm going to make it a priority. I'm going to
Mm.
be honest. But in the future, I might, if I see one of her books or something like that, I might be like, oh,
That
this
catches your
might have.
attention.
Yeah.
You might like A House with Good Bones, actually. I know I said I was disappointed with the ending, but I
Isn't
think if
Nettle
you
and
go
Bone?
in Nestle and Bones, like a cozy fantasy by T. Kingfisher.
I have that one on my TBR.
Yeah, that one's very much a cozy though, from what I've heard. I haven't read that one yet.
Okay.
It's on my wish list. I haven't got it yet. Or have I? I might have it on my Kindle actually. But yeah, I feel like T. Kingfisher's the kind of, I think because she spans a few different genres. Hang on, it says in the back here. Fantasy, horror, and occasional oddities. So, like Nettle and Bones, a cozy fantasy. Thornhedge is
Hmm.
like a retelling of a fairy tale retelling.
Okay.
That's really good. What Moves the Dead is a retelling of Fall of the House of Usher. That's I really enjoyed that. I've heard mixed reviews of that one though. And A House with Good Bones, I feel like I'm an outlier. I haven't heard anyone else say that they weren't happy with the ending. So, or that they weren't happy with it. Like I've heard a lot of people raving about A House with Good Bones.
Okay.
But yeah. Oh, Hollow Places is good as well, but it's weird. That one is weird. T. Kingfisher does like weird aspects, but that one is like fully weird, in my opinion. I loved it,
Oh,
but it was weird.
but sometimes with books are nice. But
Yeah.
we don't have many comments today, which is
No.
fine. I think we had a nice conversation. Do you
Yeah.
have anything that you wanted to add?
No. I might be sprinting tomorrow, probably on Katie's channel if I am. Just depends on when I get out of the hospital or not. But
Mm-hmm.
Katie's sprinting for Winter-a-thon tomorrow, so
Nice.
yeah. Other than that, I'll be sprinting Thursday. I'll have a video up at some point this week. I haven't decided what day of the week my upload's going to be, but because I've ended up putting 2 up this week.
Oh yeah.
After saying in one of them that I'm dropping my schedule down to 1.
It's okay. They are different. One of them is a
Yeah.
channel update, so
I
that
would
doesn't.
have realistically, if I hadn't been so late putting my TBR up, I would have realistically put the update up first.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's just one of them things. Like I'm back and that's it.
Yeah, but it happens.
I'm
You were never dead.
back.
From my side, I just want to remember everyone who does watch this live stream back fully. We do have the next book month already picked, which is Midnight at Beacon Street by I never know the author. I know it's a big name.
Emily Ruth Verona.
So it's a big name, Emily
Yeah.
Ruth
I always want
Verona.
to say Ruth Verona. I always forget the Emily.
Yeah. Laura is already reading it. I have not yet started it, but I hope I sometime can start it, which I will
Yeah.
do. I have to do it. So yeah, I don't have anything more to say. So I think we will end up here.
Mm.
So, friends, I hope you enjoyed this little discussion and I hope to see you next month.
See you
Bye.
later.